Happy Canada Day, nerds! I thought it would be fun to count down some Canadian superheroes to celebrate the holiday, so let's get into the Tim Hortons, hockey, and maple syrup of it all. Starting off with Squirrel Girl. There is a lot of confusion surrounding exactly where Squirrel Girl came from, which feels really fitting for the character. What we do know is she has dual citizenship, Canadian-American. Marvel claims that she is from California, but one of her parents is from Canada and they do have a cottage up here that she visits. Plus, it makes sense that Squirrel Girl would have Canadian and American roots. The US is in first place when it comes to squirrel population and Canada is in third. It's an honor to say that Squirrel Girl is technically a Canadian superhero, considering she might just be the most powerful being in the Marvel universe, at least in the meme world. Because her premise is like a little bit ridiculous, it's become a Marvel meme that Squirrel Girl is insanely powerful and can defeat any foe, ranging from Doctor Doom to Galactus to Magneto. It doesn't matter, she's gonna win. There is a reason why her series was called Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Number 9. Deadpool. This might shock you, but Deadpool is Canadian. Honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. I thought that Ryan Reynolds was the only Canadian thing about Deadpool. I mean, like, can you blame me? Look at the material. Even the official Marvel website describes the merc as the least Canadian person ever. It was also up in the air for the longest time what Deadpool's official backstory was. The hero is an unreliable narrator because he loves to lie, and also like his memories are pretty scrambled, so he had a bunch of different possible origin stories. Deadpool was created under Department K, which was a covert branch of the Canadian government that revived the Weapon X program, the program that experimented on another famous Canadian hero, Wolverine. Wade Wilson might have been experimented on by Canadians, but that didn't mean that he was a Canadian. He could have just been having a really rough vacation or accidentally ended up on the nice side of Niagara Falls, you know? It was confirmed in I think like 2014 that he was actually from Canada, even though he doesn't really remember that part of his life. Despite the fact that this hero didn't grow up in Canada, he wears the red well. Some fans speculate that Ryan Reynolds' casting as Deadpool ended up influencing the comic origins, but that is up for debate. Number 8. Department K is responsible for another major hero that is certainly having his moment right now, the Sentry or Robert Reynolds. The Sentry's Canadian citizenship is also up for debate. His official place of birth or where he grew up has actually yet to be revealed, but many fans theorize that he's from Canada due to the involvement of the covert branch of the Canadian government, Department K. Department K worked with the US Rebirth operation to create the serum that made Bob the Sentry. If you have seen the latest MCU film Thunderbolts or the new Avengers, you would know that Bob certainly apologizes enough to be Canadian. Of course, due to the fact that it's not confirmed whether or not saying sorry secures your citizenship, and we don't know where exactly Bob comes from, he places pretty high on the list today. Number 7. Snowguard. Amka Alayak. Amka Alayak made her debut as the Canadian hero Snowguard in 2018. Hailing from a village in Nunavut, Snowguard is an Inuk teenager who gains her powers after encountering the mystical spirit Scylla. Scylla was being held in containment, and Amka helped break them out, but sustaining injury in the process. The spirit was moved by their heroics and healed those injuries, granting her supernatural abilities in the process, including the ability to shapeshift into animal forms and manipulate natural energies. Snowguard joined the Champions, a team of young superheroes, and uses her abilities to protect both her community and the world at large. Her powers include shapeshifting into creatures like a giant bear or an owl, as well as harnessing Aurora-like energy constructs, making her a unique and powerful addition to the Marvel Universe. And number 6. Snowbird. There's usually a lot of snow up here in Canada, so many heroes have snow in the name. Snowbird is a Canadian superhero known for her deep connection to the mythology and wilderness of the Canadian landscape. Born as the daughter of the goddess of the Northern Lights and a human father, Snowbird was created to serve as a champion against the mystical great beasts that threaten the world. Raised in the Canadian wilderness by the mystic Michael Two Young Men, Narya was bound to the land of Canada by magic, which allowed her to take human form, but also made her physically ill if she left the country's borders. Adopting the codename Snowbird and the human identity of Anne Mackenzie, she joined the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight, where she fought to protect her homeland from supernatural threats. Snowbird possesses the remarkable ability to transform into any animal native to northern Canada, gaining their abilities while retaining her intellect. She also has superhuman strength, flight, limited precognition and postcognition, and the ability to sense mystical energies. Her story is marked by sacrifice and tragedy, but she has repeatedly returned to defend Canada alongside Alpha Flight. Number 5. Nemesis. Nemesis is the superhero alias recently adopted by Heather McNeil Hudson, a prominent Canadian Marvel character originally from Calgary, Alberta. Heather has a long history in Marvel Comics, first appearing as a founding member and later leader of Alpha Flight, Canada's Canada's premier superhero team. Following stints as Vindicator and Guardian, Heather assumed the mantle of Nemesis to help protect mutant refugees from the Canadian government, operating in secret, even sometimes from her husband, Guardian. As Nemesis, Heather wields the mystical sword Cell, which grants her the ability to teleport herself and others, as well as a degree of superhuman durability. However, that sword is a double-edged weapon. Its teleportation drains the life force of the wielder if not fed by the life force of others, a weakness that put Heather's life at risk every time that she uses its power. Despite these dangers, Heather's commitment to her team and her country remains unwavering, cementing her legacy as one of Canada's most enduring Marvel heroes. Number 4. Northstar. Marvel's most famous set of twins might be Wanda and Pietro, but Northstar and Aurora could give them a run for their money. Okay, like that might be taking it a little bit far, but they are certainly very cool. Northstar, whose real name is Jean-Paul, is a Canadian superhero from Montreal, Quebec, and one of Marvel's most prominent mutant characters. Born a French-Canadian, he was separated from his twin sister Jean-Marie, Aurora, at birth after their parents died in a car accident. Northstar first gained fame as an Olympic and professional ski champion before being recruited by Canada's superhero team Alpha Flight, where he reunited with his sister and adopted his codename. So like, I told you he was cool, Olympian to superhero, I mean come on. He later became a member of the X-Men and led Alpha Squadron, honoring his Canadian roots and his history with Alpha Flight. Northstar's mutant powers include superhuman speed, flight, and the ability to emit photonic energy blasts, abilities that he shares with his sister. He is also notable for being one of the first openly gay superheroes in mainstream comics and the first to have a same-sex wedding depicted in Marvel publication. Northstar's legacy is defined by his Canadian heritage, his groundbreaking representation, and his powerful mutant abilities. So, number 3, his sister, Aurora. Aurora is a Canadian superhero from Montreal, Quebec, and a prominent member of Marvel's Alpha Flight team. She's the twin sister of Northstar, and both siblings were separated at a young age after their parents passed in a car accident, with Jean-Marie sent to a strict Catholic girls' school where she suffered emotional trauma. The trauma contributed to her developing dissociative identity disorder, resulting in 2 distinct personalities: the reserved, religious Jean-Marie and the bold, uninhibited Aurora. Aurora's mutant powers include superhuman speed, flight, and the ability to emit bursts of blinding light, especially when in contact with her brother Northstar. Over the years, she has struggled with her mental health but has played key roles in Alpha Flight's battles and briefly joined the X-Men, cementing her legacy as one of Marvel's notable Canadian heroes. Number 2, Guardian. A large reason as to why this character ranks so high is his outfit. I mean, look at this supersuit, it is literally the Canadian flag. James MacDonald Hudson, better known as Guardian, is a Canadian superhero in the Marvel Universe and the founding leader of Alpha Flight, Canada's big superhero team. I mean, just his name is hyper-Canadian though, holy cow. Born in London, Ontario, Hudson was a brilliant engineer who designed a technologically advanced exosuit originally intended for geological exploration. When he discovered that his employer planned to weaponize that suit for military purposes, Hudson took a stand by stealing and disabling the suit, later striking a deal with the Canadian government to avoid prosecution. He became the head of Department H, a secret government agency, and formed Alpha Flight to defend Canada against superpowered threats. Throughout his history, Hudson has used several codenames, including Weapon Alpha and Vindicator, before settling on Guardian, as he came to terms with his responsibilities and past mistakes. Guardian's powers stem from his exosuit, which grants him flight, energy projection, force fields, and enhanced strength, making him a formidable leader and protector of Canada. His costume is modeled after the Canadian flag, of course, emphasizing his role as the nation's symbolic defender. And of course, number 1 is going to be Wolverine. Like, literally, who else could be in this spot? Wolverine is the quintessential Canadian superhero. Hailing from the unforgiving plains of Alberta, and that is coming from someone who grew up there, Wolverine's chaotic origins only serve to make the hero more appealing to fans across the world. Maybe Wolverine doesn't say sorry as much as the average Canadian, but he does wear plenty of flannel to make up for that. Not only is Wolverine from Canada, but he is Canada. I think we have a statue of him somewhere in Alberta. The man has worked for the Hudson's Bay Company, like the original fur trading company, not the department store, RIP to her by the way. He joined the Canadian Forces and was a paratrooper for the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion. You might recall in Deadpool and Wolverine that the CN Tower appeared in the void. That's a nod to Wolverine's, Deadpool's, and Ryan Reynolds' Canadianness. But in comic, Wolverine did fight a villain across Canada and directly on top of that CN Tower. But most importantly, in Wolverine First Class 6, Logan exercises his moral right as a Canadian to watch hockey and eat Timmy's uninterrupted, or as uninterrupted as he can get with a bunch of little mutants tearing the house apart. The only problem there is he's a Calgary Flames fan. Sorry, not sorry about that one. But what do y'all think? Who's your favorite Canadian superhero or superhero from your own country? Let us know know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, nerds!